Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another day with me. My name's Benson. What's yours? So we're going to do a top 10 video today. We're going to do the top 10 things you need at Walt Disney World to survive. You need them. You got to have them. Get them. Number one, your wallet. Plain and simple. Your ID, your credit cards, money. You're going to need it in the park. Whether you're an annual pass holder, whether you're just there for the day, there's a chance you're going to want to drink if you're an adult. There's a chance you're going to need to buy a souvenir if it's your once-in-a-lifetime trip. You need your wallet. Make sure it's with you. I know, seems kind of common sense, but make sure all the stuff's in your wallet too. Tickets, ID, credit cards, cash. It's always good to have cash on hand just in case. Number two, your phone. Cell phone. Get it. Take it. The Disney app is amazing. You can manage your fast passes with it. You can check the time. The app has a map for the parks. You can see where the wait times is. Like, let's say there's an attraction on the other side of the park that you want to go to, but you don't want to wait more than 20 minutes to do it. You look, oh, it's an hour and a half. I guess we're not going to walk that extra mile to get to it. Cell phone, keep it charged, keep it with you. Disney has places to plug in, so keep your charger with you, or we carry extra battery packs. Cell phone, super important. Plus, you keep in contact with your party. Number three, ladies and gentlemen, number three is important as well. You need a good, sturdy backpack. Good, wide straps. Make sure it's adjustable because multiple people in your party should be carrying this pack. Do not give it to one person and make them your donkey for the day. Share the burden of this backpack because after a long day in the park, it gets heavy. You get sweaty. You're going to want to trade that responsibility off. Don't just give it to one person. So make sure it's adjustable and fits everybody in the party. Good, solid, strong, wide straps are important too for even distribution. Even better if you can get a backpack that runs from one side to the other so that it distributes some of the weight across the front of your chest and less on your shoulders. The reason I say that is by the end of the day, this sucker is going to wear out your neck and your shoulders. So be prepared, have it. These are important because of the next things that you're going to want to carry. You're going to want a water bottle, a good water bottle. It doesn't even have to be a reusable water bottle. For the kids, most of the time, we bring in like a 16-ounce bottle of water. When they drink it, I'm like, this is your water bottle. It is your responsibility to keep it full so that you stay hydrated. And then I get on to them when it's not at full and they're not hydrated. So I double check anyways. But that's like part of their responsibilities to make sure they've always got water. So every time we see a water fountain and we stop, they fill their water bottle. If they stop and drink from it, then they go ahead and fill it back up for later. Water bottles are important because you must stay hydrated. Disney does offer you free ice water at any of their quick service stands, and that's amazing. However, they've got a bunch of water fountains throughout the park that you can fill up these bad boys with. It's a little more difficult at some than it is for others because like the water doesn't shoot out as far, but water bottles are important, and there's no sense in you paying $3 for a bottle of Dasani water because you don't like the taste of the fountains when you can fill this up with Dasani or whatever, or carry water bottles in a backpack. Yeah, the more you carry, the heavier it's going to get. So that's why I suggest sucking it up and getting a water bottle and just being okay with the fountain water. You can also get those little drink snacks. They're not super heavy. An entire box is going to weigh less than a pound. And you can dump those in there and flavor your water. And then you can't taste Florida's nasty water, as some people say. So, water bottle. Get one, take one, you need one. The next thing on the list is not necessarily a must-have. You don't absolutely have to have this. I will tell you, if you're going during the summer months, the spring months, the fall months, pretty much anything except for the winter, and even sometimes then it's best to have them. Ladies and gentlemen, you need a poncho. And ponchos aren't expensive. The Walmart in Orlando sells these ponchos for $3.95 a piece. That's right, I paid less than $5 for a poncho. We got kids ponchos, and it's Disney themed. It's got Minnie's bow on it. The adult poncho, it's got Darth Vader on it. You can't even see it on this picture, but it's got Darth Vader on it. And yes, the adult poncho fits my fat head. It's a little snug getting it over, but it does cover me really well. So if you don't like to get wet, you don't like to stay wet, you don't like to be rained on, ponchos are important because in Florida, wait 5 minutes and the weather's going to change. It's not a joke. It could honestly rain on you in front of the castle and be dry in the back of the castle. That's just the way it is. Carry a poncho for each person in your party, or the little ones, so they're not wet, because when they get wet, they're going to get cranky, and then it's no fun for anybody. So, is it necessity? No, you could carry an umbrella, I guess, but ponchos, they're important. Just trust me on that one. If your wife says she doesn't want one, get her one anyways, because she's going to be the grumpiest one when she gets wet. Trust me. The next thing on the list, and this one's pretty important too, because of the way the weather changes and you never know what's going to be, chapstick. Honestly, Florida's weather, especially right now during the spring/winter months, it goes from hot to cold so rapidly that your lips are going to dry out, and once they start to dry out, they're going to burn. And for like my kids, like Allie the day, hers were burning so bad she was crying because my chapstick, I had one and it broke during the day, so we went and bought 4 so that everybody in the party had one. But chapstick's really important, and apply it often because it's going to keep your lips from chapping, it's going to keep them from burning. When you apply it to yourself, make sure you apply it to your kids. I would recommend every 30 minutes at best, probably sooner than that, especially on days like these last few days where it's been windy and cool, because trust me, it's going to save your life. The next thing on the list is going to be sunscreen/sunwear. If you're one of those people that doesn't really burn necessarily, sunscreen, I guess you can avoid it. I'm going to tell you not to. Keep sunscreen on you, and you're going to want to apply it regularly. The reason being is that Florida's sun it's the same as the rest of the world, but there's not a lot of blockage in the parks, and then it's also getting pulled down because of the concrete. So some surfaces won't draw the light and the heat as much as other surfaces. Concrete's not one of those, especially in Magic Kingdom where it's really wide and open, World Showcase where it's wide and open, and Hollywood Studios. You're gonna want sunscreen because you're not gonna want to burn. Do not ruin your vacation because you didn't bring sunscreen. Even, you know, no matter how hot it gets, I'm always gonna usually be in pants, sometimes shorts depending on what we're doing, but they're long shorts, and tennis shoes. I know people like to wear flip-flops to the park. They're comfortable. Don't. But keep sunscreen on your forearms, on the back of your neck, where a lot of people forget, on your ears and your face and your legs, so that you don't burn. I always wear shirts with a sleeve, but I would even say, just in case, take the sunscreen up at least half up your bicep. That is super important in Florida. Even in the winter months, you may not even think about it, but it's still warm in December. There are some days in December where it hits 80. Yesterday, it was in the 60s, but the sun was out. It was a clear, beautiful blue day. You're still gonna run the chance of being sunscreen. In days like that, you need a little less sunscreen, maybe not as often, but you wanna have it. Right on this list with sunscreen, right next to it, so we go sunscreen/sunwear, hats, ball caps. I carry this thing called a buff, which is basically a bandana, and it can be turned into multiple different forms of hats or face guards. If you want to see a video on it, I can show it to you, let me know. But it's BUFF. They run about $20 a piece, I think. They're super absorbent, so if you sweat a lot, they're great to go on your head. I usually wear mine under my hat so it absorbs some of the sweat, and then they dry within like 10 to 15 minutes because they're super thin, but super absorbent. It's really weird how they work and how well they work, but I can't recommend a buff more if you sweat a lot, especially from like your brow region and stuff. They're amazing. Plus, if you're the only people wearing them, you can get them in multiple different neon colors. Your party can all wear them, and you're gonna be able to spot them in a crowd. We went with a buddy a while back, years ago, and that's what he did. They wore neon yellow buffs with like a white reflective stripe. You always knew where they were, so it was awesome on him. It was a great thing. But yeah, sunwear, wide brimmed hats, baseball caps, whatever, because you don't realize how easy it is to sunburn the top of your head, but also this kind of keeps the sun out of your eyes, keeps it off my ears. Look at that. Ding, 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 ding. Keeps it off my ears and the back of my neck a little bit. So hats are important, sunglasses if you've got sensitive eyes, you know, sun wear. The next thing on the list, a plan. Have a plan. Now, for us, we go about once a month. We can go without a plan. I can get up one day, throw some fast passes on, and go for the day, and it's no big deal. That's not gonna work for everybody. it's best to plan out your fast passes, make sure they're all set up, know where your plan is, because if you have a plan, you're not going to overwalk yourself, you're not going to wear yourself out as much. Have a plan. Know what attractions you really want to visit, what attractions you're okay with visiting but you don't necessarily have to. You know, what shows you want to see, what parks you want to hit, what parks have what attractions and what shows. A plan is important, especially if this is something you don't do that often. The next thing on the list is good shoes. Earlier I mentioned people like to wear flip-flops. Tennis shoes and socks will save your life. Yes, they make good flip-flops. Yes, they're comfortable. Yes, they're airy. But A, you're not going to have to rub sunscreen on the top of your feet so they don't get burned. And B, you're going to wish you had good arch support and good cushion to your feet, especially if you're going to be in those parks all day long. Good shoes are important. I wear a pair of tennis shoes and I carry a backup pair of shoes in case they get wet. When the kids go, I tell them tennis shoes, socks. No, you're not bringing flip-flops. Kristen will sometimes wear sandals. That's her prerogative, but most times she still wears tennis shoes as well, because she's been in that situation where she's worn flip-flops all day and it absolutely wears her feet out, and there's not a lot of support to them, and on that hard concrete all day, it's gonna stink. It's the worst thing. So good shoes, good arch support, good cushions. Buy them at least a month and a half before your trip and wear them at least once a week regularly so that they're worn into your feet. You don't want to buy a brand new pair of shoes and wear them day one at the park for the first time, because you're not going to be happy about it. You want that shoe to kind of mold to your foot. Again, month in advance, wear them regularly. Over that month, do some pre-walking so that they kind of mold to your foot. The last thing on our top 10 list, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the most important item on this list, because if you don't have this item, you're going to have a terrible vacation. Patience. Disney doesn't have an off-season anymore. These parks are crowded all the time. You might get a low crowd volume, but even then, you're talking hour waits on some of these rides if you didn't get a fast pass for them. Patience is key. Going into these parks being wound up and being all just like, is going to ruin your day. It's not only going to ruin your day, it's going to ruin your party's day. Nobody's going to have a good time if you don't have patience. Now, I'm telling you as an adult, have patience, because your kids aren't going to. Mine are a little older, they're a lot better at it, and they've been around me enough to realize I'm too laid back to really let too much get in the way of things, and I'm just patient. My wife, when we first got together, I'm not even going to exaggerate, the least patient person in the world. I often told her that a dead donkey had more patience. Because that was just the way she was. She was still young, but now as she's been around me a lot and we've done things and we go do stuff, she's like, I'm not waiting for this. I'm like, you're waiting now because I just drove here to get here. So it's hard to be around somebody that's as laid back as I am and not kind of pull from the having patience. But anyways, patience in these parks is important, because you're going to be around people who don't give a crap about the people around them. They're only there to care about themselves. They're going to bump you. They're going to run you over. Just be nice to people. Don't let people walk all over you. But in the same sense, you know, for me, like, just a story, we were going into the firehouse to pick up our sorcerer's cards, and the dance parade started, the Move It, Shake It parade, I think is what it's called. And we were standing there, and I got bumped in the back of my ankles 4 times by this lady with a stroller. And then she was finally like, oh, excuse me, can we go right past you? Well, there was a little space right next to Allie to watch the parade, and she had 2 kids in a stroller. And I'm like, yeah, no big deal. I stepped out of it. But like, if she had just tapped me at first, instead of like ramming into my ankles 3 times, it probably would have been a lot smoother, because I stepped out of the way. I mean, I'm tall, I can see over most crowds. Allie had a good view. I wasn't worried about that obstructing her. But then this lady, so she finally, like, even getting the cart where she wanted, like, ran over my feet like 3 times. So having patience with her, I could have gotten mad, I could have like thrown a fit, I could have yelled at her. I didn't. I just had patience. I get it. People are there. They don't understand how to maneuver those strollers and crap. She got up in front, and her kid was able to see, and it was a little kid, so it's not a big deal. But patience in that situation on her part could have saved my ankles a little bit. All I'm saying. So yeah, that's our top 10 list. That's the top 10 things you must have to survive these parks. These parks are big. There's a lot of walking. There's a lot of sunshine. There's a lot of crazy weather, and you never know how your day is going to go. Follow these top 10 rules to make sure your trip is a happy trip. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you. Till tomorrow.